coming home to the body. This is a 30-minute, 12 breath somatic practice. Knowing the first dimension of the wisdom of the body is the open to what we are discovering experientially in our body through the practice. And the second one of what the body knows, which are things as they truly are, things in their fullness, things that are not broken apart by our thinking and labeling and misidentification and programming, but things in their livingness. There's a saying in Tibetan Buddhism that when you see things, you see their life. And when you label them and think about them, they're already dead, like the butterfly that's pinned on the board. So this is about flying in your own freedom with the practical utility of the wisdom of the body, is that it makes you so accurate in terms with working with people, with situations. You're not seduced by your own ego freakouts, your own being triggered, your own activation, your own trauma responses. When you're listening to the body wisdom, you are able to, instead of putting a lot of barriers between you and another person, mental barriers, you're actually able to be raw, naked, vulnerable, and present in the utter simplicity and directness of the experience. And then compassion is a natural flow. And then when we look at another aspect of the wisdom of the body, it is the practical guidelines of how we live our lives, how we breathe in fully. And what I mean by that is that when the fundamental openness is there and we begin to see things really from their own side, we see how things are, what things are, then we begin to find in our experiences that the body provides guidelines. And this is sometimes a difficult concept to understand without the direct experience. But what I'm talking about here is that when we, let me give you an example. Say you're in a challenging situation. It could be with your partner, your child, it could be a work situation, but it's very problematic. And you get angry or you get upset and you start feeling bad, or you start hating yourself, or you have some kind of strong adverse emotional reaction to that situation, and you in it. The normal habitual human tendency is to label, perhaps the person that's projecting at you is bad and you become angry. Or if you happen to be of a vengeful nature, there are many natures that we have, compassion and wrathful being contrasts of, things like prideful, jealousy, whatever it is. If you happen to be vengeful, you may think about retaliating. But basically what we all do, because we're hurting, is we label things that make us feel uncomfortable, and then we start attributing stories to them and making meaning of it. And then we set it in the narrative of all of life. And what happens in that moment is that we disconnect from what our body knows. We've dissociated, in fact, from the intelligence of the body. So the focus at this point is to come back to the body through the breath, feeling into the body, doing a body scan, whatever you choose, but really feeling into the body and knowing that your thinking mind, when you do that, when you connect back in with the body wisdom, the thought goes away, meaning that to be in the body is incompatible with being completely locked up in the thinking mind. And likewise, to be locked up in the thinking mind, the strategizing mind, the storytelling mind, the narrativizing mind, is to be disconnected from the body. It's just basic neurobiological fact that being in the body is when the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest, our healing default mode, that goes with being embodied safely. And when the parasympathetic nervous system is activated, the sympathetic nervous system, which is associated with the thinking mind, the reactive mind, is offline. You cannot be in both places at the same time, and it works the other way around as well. When we're in fight and flight response, the sympathetic nervous system is activated by threat. That is associated with a lot of thinking. So we come into the body and we begin to track what's going on in the body. So we're leaving aside the narrative, the storyline, coming into the body and feeling the energy of the space in our body. And strangely enough, it's like a tide. I speak about this a lot, of the boat on the sea, the ebb and the flow. And the energy in the body moves. And we're getting to the underlying cause of our disconnection by coming back to the body. And strangely enough, that energy moves. And if you stay with it, this is something Peter Levine talks about quite a bit, when you stay with the energy of the body, it actually goes somewhere and it resolves the situation. And it brings us back into knowing and seeing what's really going on, and not just being locked up in our obsessive compulsive thoughts, in our reactivity. So this is one way in which we can call the practical magic, the wisdom of the body, works if we allow it to move through challenging situations that are problematic and overwhelming and often confusing. And the other aspect is, in any and every situation, when we have an uncertainty, a question about our direction, we can come back into the body, and the body will tell us. The body never lies. The body will show us what it knows about the situation. Is it kind or not kind? And there's a lovely book by David Rome called The Body Knows the Answer. And it's a beautiful place to start if you're new to this work. But when we can trust that the body knows, that's what we call the body intelligence, the intuition. The body holds past, present, and future in every cell of its being. And generally when people can tell the future, it's because they're tapping into the body wisdom in healing. And you don't need to be a healer to use this. We are our own medicine. And just trusting that, if you go out and you play, and perhaps you're going grocery shopping and you're looking at all these different kinds of apples, if you check in with your body at which apple would be the most nutritious for it, you'll find that your eyes will rest on a certain apple, and there'll be a vibrancy and aliveness in your body. And I love this because you can do it with food, you can do it with what job you want, what partner to choose, what place to go, what food you'd like to eat. It works everywhere, because the body at the most fundamental level is your greatest consciousness facilitator. It's your teacher, it's your guru and your guide. And it's completely unlike human teachers, who are always a mixed bag. They're human and they have egos and judgments, as do we all. But the body never lies. It is your direct access to what is true for you. And in order to live our life fully, we need access. We need to be in touch with our body, in knowing our desire, in seeing things as they truly are, and we need practical guidance in our everyday life. And this is not the same kind of guidance that you're going to get from someone outside. The answer is already in you. How many times have my clients said to me, or in a workshop when we're talking about something relevant and we get somewhere and my client says, well, actually, I already knew that. I already knew. And they did know. You know, this is my joy of being in being a PS medicine guide. It gives me such joy to support people to come to the knowledge that is already within them, because it is already there in your body's innate intelligence. And sometimes I can see it before they can, and sometimes it's a mutual discovery. But sometimes they discover it and I don't. But there's a giving and a receiving, and it's always the same kind of process of claiming back power and trusting the nature of your body. Your true nature is your medicine. So there are many, what I call somatic protocols, many somatic practices that can help us to come into the body. I've shared many of them with you already, including breath, that are all supportive of how to get you back into your interior awareness, the intuitive knowing that we are all looking for. And there are many practices that help us explore the internal landscape, the inner climate of the body. And I'm going to show you one of the most important and simplest ways, just to give you a sense of what we're discussing today, called 12-fold lower belly breathing. It's something that I teach quite extensively when I teach somatic body work and meditation, and it comes from the Tibetan tradition. And this particular practice helps us come into our body safely embodied, first of all, and it quietens the thinking mind. And then it enables us to enter rather quickly into this interior geography, this inner wisdom of the body, the internal climate and landscape. And the way to practice this is either sitting up or lying down. I'm going to sit up for this one, but choose your position. And what we're going to do is we're going to begin to breathe into the lower belly. So below the navel, into the pubic bones. And the way that this begins is breathing into the lower belly. So I'm going to show you how that works. So we're going to pick a spot midway between the perineum and the navel. And it's going to be a midline. And that spot is going to be back maybe an inch, 2 centimeters below the belly, the navel. So just imagine that spot for a minute. And by imagining it, it's going to help you breathe into it in the way that you need to. So when I say breathe into the lower belly, I'm not saying breathe from the nostrils down into the lungs and bringing the breath down. I'm talking about imagining or visualizing that you're bringing your breath, when you breathe in, you're bringing the breath directly to that place in the lower belly. So you can imagine it coming up from the ground, but just imagine that and try it for a moment, breathing naturally and gently. Just get a general feeling for what it might feel like to breathe this way into the lower belly, different to the other breath practices so far. Just try that again. And notice as you breathe into the lower belly, or you imagine that you're breathing into the lower belly in this way, just breathing directly into that spot, notice that the rest of your body actually starts to relax. There are several different practices that you can do going from this point, and I'm going to show you the one that I just described, this 12-fold breath. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a medium to full breath into the lower belly, and then you're going to exhale completely, basically pulling the front of your lower belly, collapsing it back toward the spine. So we're sort of tightening down the lower belly to the point as far as you possibly can, and exhaling stale prana, stale chi, stale energy. So let's just do one breath together. So medium to full in breath. And by the way, these breaths are done slowly. So medium to full breath into the lower belly. Breathe in. And then breathe out. And we're using the nostrils this time. Breathing in again. So let's do 3 of these so that you can see how they work in a series. So we're going to breathe into the lower belly, medium to full in breath, and breathe out, breathe out, breathe out, breathe out, breathe out, breathe out, until you've exhaled every cubic millimeter of breath, or it feels like you have no more. So 3 breaths, here we go. And then breathe naturally. Come back to the body. Notice what your body feels like. Just relax into it. You can't get this wrong. Let go of your thinking. Just drop your awareness down into your body. Very good. Now we're going to do 12 of these. So the same exact process as before. And when you're ready, let's begin. Now, as you continue on the out breath, I want you to tighten your perineum, your anal sphincter. Pull the top of your belly back toward your spine on the out breath. Continue. And as you get to 12, you could lengthen the exhale, make it a little longer. And when you get to 12, just breathing naturally, feeling your body, feeling the energy. And feel the stillness, that the body is very still. as there is more energy in the space, more chi, more prana, filling you up from the inside. And now moving your awareness back along your spine so that you're feeling your spine, every vertebrae, the curve, the cervical spine, the back of your throat, feeling, sensing all along the spine. And notice how still it is, how quiet. Isn't it beautiful to feel so totally relaxed and open and empty, bright, abundant energy available to you? So let's do another set of 12-fold lower belly breathing. Please begin when you're ready, in your own time. And in the out breath, we're tightening the anal sphincter. We're tightening and pulling up from the perineum. And you can notice the detail of pulling your pubic bone back toward your spine, tipping the pelvis forward, rolling your back over just a little bit. So let's do a few more together, and this time I want you to look at your own mind, your own space in your body, your own awareness. So 3 more. And once again, breathe naturally. And feel your breath as you breathe in through your nose, feeling your breath at the back of your palate, your throat, and be with that sensation. Nothing to do except notice what you notice. And now imagine that you're opening up the back of your neck and you're extending your awareness a little bit behind your body. And notice the quality of the space here in your body, in your throat, in your neck, your head, your torso, your arms, your legs, your fingers, your toes, your hands, your feet. And totally relax, surrender and let go into it. Relaxing backward, falling into the fundamental body, the etheric body, your catheric, your physical body in full awareness. And notice the freedom here. Free, open, empty, vast, infinite. And allow yourself to keep opening backward, falling into space, into grace, faith in the action of breathing. Nothing to do. Just be safely embodied. And see if you can notice how bright it is here, allowing the background dogs to expand your receiving of this empty space, all of a sudden filled up with noise. Notice if you can bring more receiving, more light, a diamond-like quality of platinum healing rays into your fundamental body of reality. So you're developing a sense of your own freedom and development of relationship with your sensing body wisdom as this living, breathing organism of life that you begin to experience in a much fuller and truer way. And when you do this practice that I've just shown you, the 12-fold breath, you may begin to experience beautiful things in an ordinary life, things about people. And the more that you train in abiding in your body in this way, of coming home to the body, trusting in the safety here and the sense of direction that you pick up from your somatic intuition, from your felt sense, from what the body knows to be so, rather than from what you think. It just starts to happen very naturally and organically. And the more you practice, the more you are going to enter into a beautiful flow, a dance of all of life, with your life accessing your true nature as the nature of all things. So I encourage you to use this. Enjoy the process of opening, coming back to the body, back to the heart. And leave me a comment. Let me know what came up for you that made your heart expand, or perhaps gave you more clarity into the pain and the discomfort or the challenges that you've been having. And know that if you're going to truly thrive, to breathe in life fully, this is going to be a beautiful anchor point for you to turn into the wisdom of the body as the ancient medicine. And the more that your sympathetic nervous system is going to give way to more moments of parasympathetic rest and digest, and your immune health will increase. You'll feel more vibrant, more abundant, more energetic, and more kindness to yourself. And healing, resting, rejuvenation, resetting your nervous system, peace, and the human connection is why you're here. And you know that when you're in that fight or flight response, that's already the default in modern culture, to disconnect from other people, to disconnect from the body, to amp up thinking. And our bodies are flooded with stress hormones, which is incredibly unhealthy, both physically and psychologically, as you already know. That many people that are freaked out and not sure what to do about it, that you are steps ahead, because you are no longer disconnected from your own life. You are coming home to the heart, coming home to the body, to righten not only the relationship that you have with your body, but to come into right relationship with other people and the earth herself. And my personal feeling is that traditional religions, the old ways, are not going to help us. In fact, they're a symptom of the situation, including a lot of what we're finding in the life transformation industry, which is adding to abuse, adding to trauma. But you are here and healing this epidemic, because you're already coming back into your body, into your own human experience. And I think that the real question is really to know that you are one of many people that are going to uplift and raise consciousness up by being your own medicine. So go well. And if you like this, please share it with others that may find it useful. And as I said before, please comment, leave me any questions, any insights that you have inside of the Facebook page, our community. And if you're finding this somewhere else, please leave me a comment wherever you find it. Much love.